around like south and southern Delaware.
I remember when he went to a taxi cab company in Philadelphia, and he got 4 taxis, old school taxi cars, and he went on tour with those taxi cars from like 1950s cars from Philadelphia. It was the coolest thing ever.
That's pretty so awesome. Yeah. Yeah, he's like our little claim to fame.
I would think so.
Absolutely.
He's super cool.
Definitely. So, I mean, I watched the movie last night, and I thought you guys did an amazing job with it. Are you happy with the feedback that it's been receiving so far?
It's been awesome. I mean, it's been really, really cool. And every time, you put yourself out there with a movie, and even putting himself out there, you always wonder how people are going to take it, right? And the reaction's been really positive, and I'm just thrilled.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like I learned so much watching it. I mean, even like the whole part of like, I really had no idea just how much of pro wrestling's roots came from lucha libre in Mexico and where it started. I mean, it was definitely a lesson for me of just learning even the history of it.
Yeah, it was, I believe the first masked wrestler was the original Blue Demon at the turn of the century, like the early 1900s. And around the border towns, like the Arizona-Texas border, because of the military, there was a lot of carnival activity that would come in and out of Mexico and around that area because families needed entertainment. And it started out as they would have a big, big, strong guy, and they would put a plant in the audience. And the big, strong guy, if you could survive 3 minutes in the ring with him, you get a prize. And he would, he was a big dude, and he would destroy everybody. And eventually the plant in the audience would come in the ring, and he would somehow defeat this monster. That's how pro wrestling started around those areas in the carnival. So yeah, there's quite a bit of history there.
Absolutely. I mean, do you feel that, I mean, obviously lucha libre has been something that's been around, forever, but do you feel that like it's kind of grown in popularity internationally over the past few years?
No. I believe people copying the move set has become extremely popular. The actual tradition of why things are done, that part hasn't been taken and explained to the wrestling culture. People understand what they see and a version of it, but the actual tradition and what goes into the creating a personality and why these legends have 5 and 6 generations behind them, that part, and the more acrobatic circus atmosphere hasn't been explained correctly to the people who are portraying the art live. So even though the moveset is out there and people appreciate the suicidal dives and all these crazy moves, the actual tradition of what is lucha libre hasn't been yet because it just hasn't been explored correctly.
And I can add to that. I think what's spread around the world is the pop culture aspect of it. That's what's kind of translated. The pop culture aspect, characters with the masks and all these sort of things like that, and TV shows and that is, but the traditional elements of it hasn't kind of translated. I think the cool thing is that I think if you discover lucha libre through the pop culture, people who really want to dig into it then dig into it and want to learn more.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. I mean, it's, I feel like, even when you brought your character into WCW and brought like kind of that side, do you feel that people just didn't get it at that time?
Yeah, I felt like that. People got it. The fans got it. The office didn't get it. The people behind the camera didn't understand it. Because if you're a heavyweight in the United States and a bigger guy, you're supposed to work one rhythm, one style. And in Mexico and in Japan, it's not that way. So they were like, how can you be a heavyweight, but you move like a lightweight?
Mm.
Well, that's how I learned. So I think the people were ready for it. I was one of the first bigger guys who had a quicker moveset. And I think that I was part of something, a new era. I definitely am not responsible for it, but I can see the need for it. The wrestling fans in general worldwide really are into it. It's pretty cool to see it finally starting to come out.
Absolutely. So, I mean, one of my favorite comparisons in the film was the way that you were able to compare wrestling from behind the scenes, the work behind the scenes to wrestling in a different way, because it was so intense to see what goes into that process. It was crazy. I'm like, how is he not losing his mind?
Well, because I lost it a long time ago. It's easy. This is no problem. You know what? And I'll let Michael answer that one. But the only thing I have to say about it is I've been doing it for this is my 39th year. So I don't see what you saw. Mm-hmm. I don't see what Michael saw. To me, that was an easy day. That show was easy. The other shows are crazy. That one was kind of like already that was no big deal. So I don't know, Michael. What do you think?
I think I said before, I will keep saying it's like organized chaos. Mm-hmm. When you're in these events, and it's absolutely insanity with everything going on, and everybody's alpha, and just it's a lot. And then I see what Ian's doing, and he is like a composer with the orchestra, or a ringmaster for that matter as well, right? And so he's doing all that, and he's got like four. That's what I was amazed about. Was like he has like everybody sees everybody on the internet. You see Ian for Vampiro on one surface, right? Mm-hmm. But there's all these layers to him and his personality and his jobs. He's got so many different things going on. I think I wanted to kind of reveal that, show that what was going on, and. He talked, and when he was talking about wrestling in a different, like being in a different position, but he's still wrestling. I thought that was really cool, and I kind of fashioned it too, but like in music, they're like jazz. Everything is different, and he's always creating a new piece each time. And I think that was that's his special skill.
Absolutely. Do you think, Ian, that your love of music, played a part in helping that just become easier for you? Because music's always been a very, very big part of who you are.
I'm sure. It's kind of like, if you're in a kitchen and you have to make a meal for 40 people, you take the ingredients that are in front of you and you see how much you can get out of everything, and you got to make it so that the people want to come back and eat at your restaurant again. So when you're given, you go into something like that on a Monday, and then by Wednesday it's changed about 75 times, and then by Thursday you put a time in the afternoon that's cut off, because Friday you do the install and you do the rehearsals. Mm-hmm. So usually somebody's sick, I lost my equipment, I can't get a flight, I don't want to work with this guy. So by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all that's been worked out. Then by Thursday, everything that you worked out Wednesday night doesn't mean shit, and you got to start brand new. So it's like, why prepare? It's like, I know who's coming. I got plan A, B, and C. I know what's going to happen. I know what to do because I've been in that position. I've been the wrestler. I've been the camera guy. I've been the guy who set up the ring. I know the insanity. You got to try to convince the guys that less is more. Don't go out there and do every single thing because people can't digest it. I'm not telling you to stop, but most guys want to, when they have a big show like that, it's like a guitar player. Everybody wants to play every fucking note they can. It's like, you don't have to. Mm-hmm. Do one song that people will dance to and sing to. You don't have to play every note that's ever been existed. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got things on your mind. And I kind of adopted the approach that why fight it? What's going to happen is going to happen. The asteroid is coming towards Earth. So if I hide in a cave, it doesn't mean I ain't going to get crushed. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm just hiding in a cave. So fuck it, I'm not going to hide in a cave, and when it hits, I'll pick up the pieces and I'll make a show. That's kind of what it's like.
Absolutely. Can I just point out I'm in love with your kitchen?
With my kitchen?
Yeah.
Which one?
The decoration.
The one in Canada with the coffin and all that stuff?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm like... So, I mean, I loved being able to see, you know, both sides of, like, the home life, as well as it is just peeling back layers. And was it hard to open yourself up to that as well?
No, not at all. I don't think so, no, Micah. Because Michael and Michael made the decision what to do. I said, dude, I don't know what's going on. I'm sick. You take control. So Michael's better at answering that one than me.
When we first, discussed doing it, Ian was very sort of open to it, and I thank him because he was very trusting in the process. He said he didn't want to see he had his own idea of what the movie was, like in terms of how it is, but he's like, I'll ruin it if I give you my thoughts. So you just go and you do your thing. So it was really cool because he gave me that ability to be a true fly on the wall and observe and put it together. He hadn't even seen a cut or anything like that until the world premiere. Fantastic film in Austin, Texas, and that was the first time he saw the film. And so I was pretty nervous, because he hadn't seen it, but. I just wanted to, I'm very grateful for the fact that he allowed me that opportunity to, film him and not get involved in the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, overall, how long did the entire thing take to put together?
About 3 years.
We're still putting it together.
Still going, yeah. It never ends. It never ends. But 3 years of filming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's that, some of the other things too. I mean, I know that, when you left Hollywood for Mexico and everything, you brought such an edge to you and such an edge to lucha libre and everything down there. How did that transition go for you?
Oh, it was easy. Because I've been an alternative kid my whole life, so I didn't really go down there with an image. It's just who I am. That stuff that I used to wear in the ring, that would be my street clothes. Like I would show up I wouldn't even change. I would just show up to the arena and go into the ring and then get out and go into a taxi and head to a nightclub. That all that stuff was pretty much the way it was every day. So I didn't really see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think the transition though, I think you had mentioned before about, basically where you were and how you were dropped in to Mexico and how quickly fame hit you, right? And
is that what you're asking me? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah, it's definitely because it felt like all of a sudden it was like here, then it's like this celebrity status.
Oh, I hated it. Okay, I understand. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I was just looking at how cool I look in outer space.
That's okay.
I was, I didn't have an easy life, so I literally went from being homeless to being an iconic person in another country that I didn't understand the language or the culture, and I kind of knew what I was getting into because I had just left the Milli Vanilli thing, but it was very hard because I became famous for the wrong reasons, and I became uber famous. I didn't become successful in wrestling as a business or a businessman. I became a pop culture icon because of a lot of things that were happening in the country at the time, and I was in the right place at the right time, and it was a phenomenon. It was very uncomfortable. It was very unhealthy. It was unsafe because I had access to everything with unlimited amounts and no rules. I used to have the comandante of the federales, the federal police, drive me around to buy my drugs so I wouldn't get arrested in the street, things like that. I mean, how I'm still alive, and I didn't know the difference if it was right or wrong. How the fuck are you supposed to think that's wrong when you got the captain, and he's calling guys on a car, and this was before cell phones. They had some weird fucking pimp phone in the car, and he'll be like, "We'll be there in 10 minutes." What the fuck's going on? And the guy would just show, and the captain would pay him and give me, and I was like, and he goes, yeah. He says, "Do that shit here. Just don't do it in a hotel or anywhere. Somebody's going to call the cops. We got you." I'm like, things like that. It's like, what the fuck are you supposed to think? You go into a McDonald's and they're breaking the windows and they have to put security doors and they call the police. Not a cop car. They call 40 people to come and get you out. It was horrible. It was horrible. And then you get every beautiful woman in the world. You grow up going through high school getting laughed at because you're bigger and you're poor and you don't have great clothes and you fight a lot because you're angry. And you show up in a country and you have every beautiful woman ever lined up outside your, and that's not a joke, man. There'd be like 30, 40 women waiting in the hotel lobby. What the fuck are you supposed to think? And then they're like, I love you. And it's like, it's really great for your ego. And you're 19, 20 years old and you're like, I've never even held a girl's hand. Now I can have sex with 75 of them at once. Like, what are you supposed to think? It was fun for the first little while. But then after a while, it was like, I love you. I mean, what do you love? What's my name? What do I think about? What am I saying? And they just created this person. And this Casanova type guy. And I'm like, how are you fucking guys coming up with 50 magazines a week with all these interviews? I don't speak Spanish. Who's doing those interviews? What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Wow.
So it was very, very difficult. Very difficult. So on purpose, I became more rebellious. And I closed a lot of doors, and I fought the people that could have really helped me, because it's like, no, I'm not going to sell out. I just won't do it. So it wasn't as fun as people thought it was. Yeah.
It usually never is. Like, I find, people always say, I remember talking to several musicians over the years, and they always say that people think that, going backstage and all that is like a carnival and it's this big party, and really it's a bunch of sweaty guys pushing gearboxes around and doing this, and it's not as glamorous as people think it is by far.
Yeah, like, can that other band finish fucking playing so we can get paid and drive to the next town?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, I feel like, in a sense, I love the family aspect, as I mentioned before in the film. And I mean, I feel like you do so much to be a good parent, which is very inspiring. I mean, it's got to be very difficult, given just the work situation and all that. And I thought that came across, though, very well in the film.
Thank you. That was in, here's an example. Like, I would call Michael. I can't talk right now because I'm taking my daughter to class. I can't talk right now. I'm doing this. I can't talk right now because our family's having dinner. I didn't have those phone calls. I didn't get that. My family life was difficult. My mom loved us the best she could. My dad left when I was really young. I didn't even know him. He passed away when I was younger. So I was really hell-bent on not abandoning my daughter. My marriage didn't last, and I was divorced, but I didn't really have a lot of influences on how to be a good dad. Watching Michael and learning and comparing it to my situation, where it's like, that ain't fucking normal. You're flying to Mexico City on the weekends, you come back. I was really desperate to get out of that world so that I could be home 7 days a week and be there to listen to my daughter, not just be there to pay bills and cook and wash clothes and drive her to school. That's not parenting. And it was killing me. It was really killing me, because when my daughter needed her dad the most, yeah, we're tight, we're close, and we talk all the time, but I wasn't physically there to hold her when she cried sometimes. That kills me to this day. I won't forgive myself for that. So I fought tooth and nail to save my life, do this movie so she can see there was a reason I wasn't there, but I didn't know that I was wrong. So all of these things, Michael's situation, other people in my life, and the comments, and things like you're saying, really motivate me to keep going, because it seems like I'm doing something good for the first time.
Absolutely. I mean, do you feel that, moving back to Thunder Bay and everything, it was really coming full circle in a sense?
No, I didn't look at that at all like that. I looked at it was a necessary evil. Okay. I fought tooth and nail to get away from that. So can you imagine being like me when you're 13 and in a small town, This is pre-MTV. This is pre-bank card. This is pre-cell phone. This is pre-pager. And telling people who are just hockey-oriented guys, and they're like, why are you wearing eyeliner? Or why are your pants tight? Why are you wearing a pink shirt? So what the fuck do you mean why I'm wearing a pink shirt? Because it's awesome. Anyway, so going back, it wasn't easy. Because a lot of the people that were in charge of things, people in banks, police officers, the teachers in high school for my daughter, were the people in high school that I wanted to kill. So it's like, I didn't want to see any of those fucking people.
Yeah.
But I realized, you know what? The way they look at me, it's my fault. It's not their fault. So I had to change my shit. So the good thing about Thunder Bay, it was at that point in my life where I was either going to die or I had to grow up and be a man. And this movie was the start of that whole thing.
And I also want to add to that about, I think there was part of that decision too was about Dasha as well. I think at the time she was being bullied quite a bit in Mexico City.
Okay.
And I think that was a conscious decision.
It was the easiest. You know, I had to travel, like Michael says, you know, my daughter was being fucked up in school down there. She couldn't get along with her mother. She was 13, so she moved in with me. I was like, I can't be a single dad here. I'm not making any money. There's no work. And I have a job in Los Angeles, so I can't leave my daughter alone in Mexico City.
Yeah, no.
So, like Michael says, you know, I talked to my daughter and I said, look, things are really bad. And it's going to be a couple of years before they get better. You and I need to learn how to communicate. Fuck all the other stuff. And I said the easiest way to do this would probably go back to Thunder Bay because size-wise, I can manage it easier knowing where you are and being able to go around. Was it the right thing? I don't know. But it was a major part of things getting better.
Absolutely. I mean, you kind of did take on, you know, full-time parenting of her at such a transitional age as well. I mean, 13, 14 is such a, you know, for a teenage girl especially, you know, I know what I was like then, and that can, you know, it's a tough thing.
It was the greatest gift that I was given. To get yelled at, the fight, the crying, the tears, the good moments, the temper tantrums. I would never have it any other way. Because those are things, even with my mental health issues, those are embedded in my soul and my heart, you know? I'll never, ever have that taken away from me, and I wouldn't trade that out for anything.
Absolutely. So, I mean, overall, what are your hopes that audiences will take away from this film? I mean, has the pandemic had any effect on, like, the release and promotion and all that? Because it's such fun times we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the pandemic has affected so many movies, and we have to kind of think about new ways to release movies and engage with our audience and all that. I think I think we're shifting, we're pivoting for that, and that's fine. I think the biggest takeaway is with the pandemic. If you look at it, it's a movie like family is everything. And when this pandemic happened, who do you turn to? You turn to your family, your circle, right? And your circle of support. And I think that's for me, that was a really important aspect for that. And I think a lot of people can take away from that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what job you do. It's just about family and supporting your kids. And I think that's, you know, for me, I have two daughters myself, and it's a really, really important aspect of my life as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. I appreciate it. And again, a fantastic job with the film. It was fantastic.
Got a quick question for you. What part did you like in the film? What stood out for you?
I really, like I said, I really loved the comparison of just seeing this behind the scenes of. I love seeing the behind the scenes of what goes on into the production side of putting these matches together and everything. And I also really loved the family element and seeing, you know, a different side to you know, almost a character. It's like this is a real person, not just a character.
It's interesting. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay. See you later. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can I do that?
That was really good interview.